How to get from where you are to where you want to be. Hi, my name is Aarti. I'm a mindset coach, a life coach, and a therapist. And today we are reading the excerpts from this book from Jack Canfield, The 25 Principles of Success. Let's start with the first principle. Principle number one, take 100% responsibility for your life. You must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. Jim Rohn, America's foremost business philosopher. If you want to be successful, you have to take 100% responsibility for everything that you experience in your life. This includes the level of your achievements, the results that you produce, the quality of the relationships, the state of your health and physical fitness, your income, your debts, your feelings, everything. This is not easy. In fact, most of us have been conditioned to blame others, something outside of ourselves, for the parts of our life we don't like. We blame our parents, our bosses, our friends, the media, our co workers, our clients, our spouse, the weather, the economy, our astrological chart, our lack of money, anyone or anything you can pin the blame on. We never want to look at where the real problem is, ourselves. There is a wonderful story told about a man who is out walking one night and comes upon another man down on his knees looking for something under a street lamp. The passerby inquires as to what the other man is looking for. He answers that he is looking for his lost key. The passerby offers to help and gets down on his knees and helps him search for the key. After an hour of fruitless searching, he says, "We've looked everywhere for it and we haven't found it. Are you sure that you lost it here?" The other man replies, "No, I lost it in my house. But there are more lights out here under the street lamp." It is time to stop looking outside yourself for the answers to why you haven't created the life and results you want. For it is you who creates the quality of life you lead and the results you produce. You, no one else. To achieve major success in life, to achieve those things that are all most important to you, you must assume 100% responsibility of your life. Nothing less will do. As I mentioned in the introduction, back in 1969, only 1 year out of graduate school, I had the good fortune to work for W. Clement Stone. He was a self made multimillionaire worth $600 million at the time. And that was long before all the dot-com millionaires came along in the 90s. Stone was also America's premier success guru. He was the publisher of Success magazine, author of The Success System That Never Fails, and co author with Napoleon Hill of Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. When I was completing my first week's orientation, Mr. Stone asked me if I took 100% responsibility for my life. "I think so," I responded. "This is a yes or no question, young man. You either do or you don't." "Well, I guess I'm not sure." Have you ever blamed anyone for any circumstances in your life? Have you ever complained about anything? Yeah, I guess I have. Don't guess, think. Yes, I have. Okay, then that means you don't take 100% responsibility for your life. Taking 100% responsibility means you acknowledge that you create everything that happens to you. It means you understand that you are the cause of all the experience. If you want to be really successful, and I know you do, then you will have to give up on blaming and complaining and take total responsibility for your life. That means all your results, both your successes and your failures. That is the prerequisite for creating a life of success. It is only by acknowledging that you have created everything up until now that you can take charge of creating the future you want. You see, Jack, If you realize that you have created your current conditions, then you can uncreate them and recreate them at will. Do you understand that? Yes, sir, I do. Are you willing to take 100% responsibility? Yes, sir, I am. And I did. If you want to create the life of your dreams, then you are going to have to take 100% responsibility for your life as well. That means giving up on all your excuses, all your victim stories, all the reasons you can't and why you haven't give up until now. And all your blaming of outside circumstances, you have to give them all up forever. You have to take the position that you have always had the power to make it different, to get it right, to produce the desired result. For whatever reason, ignorance, lack of awareness, fear, needing to be right, the need to feel safe, you chose not to exercise that power. You know why? It doesn't matter. The past is the past. All that matters now is that from this point forward, you choose that's right. It's a choice. You choose to act as if. That's all that's required, to act as if. You are 100% responsible for everything that does or doesn't happen to you. If something doesn't turn out as planned, you will ask yourself, how did I create that? What was I thinking? What were my beliefs? What did I say or not say? What did I do or not do to create that result? How did I get the other person to act that way? What do I need to do differently next time to get the result what I want? A few years after I met Mr. Stone, Dr. Robert Resnick, a psychotherapist in Los Angeles, taught me a very simple but very important formula that made this idea of 100% responsibility even clearer to me. This formula is E plus R is equal to O. Event plus response is equal to outcome. The basic idea is that every outcome you experience in life, whether it is success or failure, wealth or poverty, health or illness, intimacy or estrangement, joy or frustration, is the result of how you have responded to an earlier event or events in your life. If you don't like the outcome you are currently getting, there are two basic choices you can make. Number one, you can blame the event, E, for your lack of result, O. In other words, you can blame the economy, the weather, the lack of money, your lack of education, racism, gender bias, the current administration in Washington, your wife or husband, your boss's attitude, the lack of support, the political climate, the system or lack of systems, and so on. If you're a golfer, you've probably even blamed your clubs and the course you played on. No doubt all these factors do exist, but if there were the deciding factor, nobody would have ever succeeded. Jackie Robinson, who never have played Major League Baseball, Sidney Poitier and Denzel Washington would have never become movie stars. Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer would never have become US sensations. Erin Brockovich would never have uncovered PG and E's contamination of the water in Hinckley, California. Bill Gates would have never founded Microsoft, and Steve Jobs would have never started Apple Computers. For every reason why it's not possible, there are hundreds of people who have faced the same circumstances and succeeded. Lots of people overcome these so called limiting factors. So it can't be the limiting factors that limit you. It is not the external conditions and circumstances that stop you, it is you. We stop ourselves. We think limiting thoughts and engage in self defeating behaviors. We defend our self destructive habits, such as drinking and smoking, with indefensible logic. We ignore useful feedback, fall to continuously educate ourselves, and learn new skills. Waste time on the trivial aspects of our lives, engage in idle gossip, eat unhealthy food, fail to exercise, spend more money than we make, fail in invest in our future, avoid necessary conflict, fail to tell the truth, don't ask for what we want, and then wonder why our lives don't work. But this, by the way, is what most people do. They place the blame for everything that isn't the way they want it on outside events and circumstances. They have an excuse for everything. Number two, you can instead simply change your response or to the events, the way things are until you get the outside outcome you want. You can change your thinking, change your communication, change the picture you hold in your head, your images of yourself and the world, and you can change your behavior. The things you do, that is all you really have to control over anyway. Unfortunately, most of us are so run by our habits that we never change our behavior. We get stuck in our conditioned responses to our spouses and our children, to our colleagues at work, to our customers and our clients, to our students, and to the world at large. We are a bundle of conditioned reflexes that operate outside of our control. You have to regain control of your thoughts, your images, your dreams and daydreams, and your behavior. Everything you think, say, and do needs to become intentional and align with your purpose, your values, and your goals. If you don't like your outcome, change your responses. Let's look at a sample example of how this works. Do you remember the Northridge earthquake in 1994? Well, I do. I lived through it in Los Angeles. 2 days later, I watched the CNN interviewed people commuting to work. The earthquake had damaged one of the main freeways leading into the city. Traffic was at a standstill, and what was normally a 1 hour drive became 2 or 3 hours drive. The CNN reporter knocked at the window of one of the cars stuck in traffic and asked the driver how he was doing. He responded angrily, I hate California. First, there were fires, then floods, and now an earthquake. No matter what time I leave in the morning, I'm going to be late for work. I can't believe it. Then the reporter knocked the window of the car behind him and asked the second driver for the same question. This driver was all smiles. He replied, It's no problem. I left my house at 5 a.m. I don't think, under any circumstances, my boss can ask for more than that. I have lots of music cassettes and my Spanish language tapes with me. I've got my cell phone, I have coffee in the thermos and lunch. I even brought book to read, so I'm fine. Now, if the earthquake or the traffic were really the deciding variables, then everyone should have been angry. But everyone wasn't. It was their individual responses to the traffic that gave them their particular outcome. It was thinking negative thoughts or thinking positive thoughts, leaving the house prepared or leaving the house unprepared that made the difference. It was all a matter of attitude and behavior that created their completely different experiences. I've heard there's going to be a recession. I've decided not to participate. A friend of mine owns a Lexus dealership in Southern California. When the Gulf War broke out, people stopped coming to buy Lexuses or Lexi for any fellow Harvard graduates and Latin students out there. They knew that if they didn't change their response, which is R, to the event E of nobody coming into the showroom, they were going to slowly go out of business. Their normal response R would have been to continue placing ads in the newspapers and on the radio, then wait for people to come in to the dealership, but that wasn't working. The outcome O they were getting was a steady decrease in sales, so they tried a number of new things. The one thing that worked was driving a fleet of new cars out to where the rich people were, the country clubs, marinas, polo grounds, parties in Beverly Hills, and Westlake Village, and then inviting them to take a spin in a new Lexus. Now, think about this. Have you ever test driven a new car and then got back into your old car? Remember that feeling of dissatisfaction you felt as you compared your old car to the new car, but that you had just driven? Your old car was fine up until then, but suddenly you knew there was something better and you wanted it. The same thing happened with these folks. After test driving the new car, a high percentage of people bought or leased a new Lexus. The dealership had changed their response to an unexpected event, the war, until they got the outcome. they wanted: increased sales. They actually ended up selling more cars per week than before the war broke out. Everything you experience today is the result of choices you have made in the past. Everything you experience in life, both internally and externally, is the result of how you have responded to the previous events. Event, you're giving $400 bonus. Response, you spend it on a night on the town. Outcome, you are broke. Another scenario. Event, you're given $400 bonus. Response, you invest it in your mutual fund. Outcome, you have an increased net worth. You only have control over three things in your life: the thoughts you think, the images you visualize, and the actions you take, your behavior. How you use these three things determine everything you experience. If you don't like what you are producing and experiencing, you have to change your responses. Change your negative thoughts to positive ones, change your daydream about, change your habits, change what you read, change your friends, and change how you talk.